Senior Break. I'm Dawn Medici with Oxford Township Parks and Recreation.
And I'm Marie May from Addison Township Senior Center.
Welcome.
Welcome. And with us today we have my good friend, Jennifer Woliun, and she is, or was, a you say it, Jenny.
Paranormal Investigator.
That's better. We got it
Wow.
right.
Yes.
Yes. And we're going to pick her brain a little bit today.
Yes, with Halloween right around the corner,
Yes,
we thought we
yes.
would dress up festive for all of you and
Yep.
and hear about what Jennifer has to share with us. So
Jennifer, how did you get into this?
Into paranormal investigation. You know, I think I've always been very interested in paranormal, even though at a very young age, when I was 5 is my first recollection, I always, I would see American Indians outside my window every morning. And I would, after a while, I realized nobody else saw these except me. And I'm thinking, that's odd. And you know, as the years go by, just more experiences happened. And life evolved, become more involved.
You started thinking something was a little different.
Yeah.
Right, than what?
Yeah. Unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know which.
Yeah.
But, and then when I retired, I thought, oh, I want to do something a little different. And I saw an article in the newspaper about a paranormal group, and I thought, oh, that sounds right up my alley. So contacted them, and so I've been doing that since 2007.
So who called you? Who would call you and say, help me do your...
Generally speaking, when we do ours, it's individuals, homeowners, or businesses. You know, they have something they can't explain, something doesn't feel right, their employees or somebody notices something out of the corner of their eyes, something like that. And then they'll call and say, you know, we got to figure this out, or we just need to know what's going on.
So, go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
so
We
then,
have 1,000
all right,
questions.
yeah. So somebody calls you,
Mm-hmm.
and they invite you to come in.
Right.
Then, like, what does that look like? How does that process start then from at that point?
Generally speaking, we'll talk to them, kind of find out what's going on, what issues they think they might be having. Then we do what we call like a pre-investigation. So we'll go out to, let's say, the building, and we'll do different readings. So we'll do something called EMFs, electromagnetic fields, in different areas, because we do know that will cause more activity, or some people it affects very differently. They can get nauseous, they start seeing things. It's all different for everybody.
Okay.
So we'll go out, kind of do a pre-investigation. Then quite often too, we'll do kind of a background on the building. You know, where was this building? Was it built on something? Was there other activities? Did something happen in this building? All that type of a thing. So we have all that kind of in the background, and then we actually go out on the day and do the investigation. We try to do it when it's the quietest, just so if we find like an EVP, it's electronic voice phenomena, our recorders can pick that all up, and there's not external noise.
Sure.
So you might be there at midnight?
Yeah, that's pretty common. Normally they would start setting up, so it takes a while to set everything up. So that might take, half hour, depending upon the size, location. And so that takes, usually we start when it starts getting dusk. And then depending on the activity and how much goes on.
If I heard a noise and I was with you, I'd probably run right out of there. I'd be scared, wouldn't you?
I would be too. Now, have you ever walked into a home or a building and you sensed or you knew something right away?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you can feel it.
Yeah.
When you're going, something's different.
Right.
Yeah. Or you feel that, or you feel like a real cold, if there's something extremely cold and you brush up against it,
So do you talk to them, or do you film them, or do you listen?
Well, actually, we do both. We do have IR cameras, infrared cameras, that are set up where they have told us they have the most activity because the more chances of getting something on camera. So we do have cameras set up. We have different equipment set up. We also have recorders, so we'll be speaking, and hopefully we'll get an EVP, with them answering our questions or trying to find out who they are or what they're doing or not doing, basically.
So how long are you there? I mean, how do you know when
we're done?
The ghost went to sleep? Yeah, how do you know when you're done?
Normally, for us too, it's, when you get tired, but also it's kind of based on how much activity is going on. If there's activity and you're still having some communication, or you notice there's sounds, whatever, you're going to keep going. Yeah.
Right.
But then when it gets kind of nothing's happening and you just get kind of bored and it's like, okay, time to pack up and
head out.
Yeah.
So whether you are able to capture something or not, and you pack up and you leave, then if there was activity, then what happens? What's the next step after that? Like, do you talk to them and ask them to leave, or to?
Do you go home and listen to what if your equipment picked up anything?
Right. First thing we do is we go back and go through all of the evidence. We'll go back through the footage of the cameras, through the recorders, and so let's say, for instance, you're there 8 hours. You've got at least 8 hours plus for a recorder, for a camera. So there's a lot of behind the scenes time that goes into all of that we don't know about. Some people, it's interesting, many people say, I don't want them to leave. I just want to know who they are or why they're here, but don't make them go away.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You wouldn't think that, would you? But
no.
Yeah.
I would think you would. But you want to ask them to leave or to go.
That would be a person that's uncomfortable with ghosts. If you're comfortable and you just want to know, maybe it's one of your relatives.
Yeah.
Then you know who you're talking to.
Right.
And as long as there's
know what they're seeing at your house.
Right.
Yes.
Well, as long as there's no harm and they're not hurting anyone or disturbing anyone. I think they feel more comfortable with it. So.
All right.
Very interesting.
All right. Well, I think we need to take a break. When we come back, we'll have more discussion with Jennifer.
Okay.
All right. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Senior Break. And again, welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you.
And we have a few more questions.
Yes, over the break we were just asking so many questions.
Right.
Yeah.
There's probably so much, and as you mentioned, there's probably not enough time. So I am curious to know, can you give us an example of something that happened in your childhood that you realized at that point you had this special gift, and what did you do to help yourself through that? How did you work through all of that?
I think I mentioned when I was about 5, the American Indians, and I went to a parochial school, of course, so anything with that was taboo, you just didn't talk about that. But when I was about 10 years old, we were on a family vacation down in southern Illinois, and we saw a sign that said Slave House, and we thought, oh, that would just be kind of fun, something interesting, for the family to do. I remember walking up to the house, and I'm thinking, oh, this looks a little familiar, but yeah, no, you're 10 years old.
Right?
We go on the first floor, and they have, of course, all the living quarters of the family. And the second floor was all the bedrooms. And then there was a stairway going up to the attic. And I'm walking up the stairs, and remember it was hot, it was in the summer. I'm walking up the stairs and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm having a heart attack. I'm 10 years old, I don't know what a heart attack is, but I was really feeling.
Like you were breathing heavy and
Felt
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was feeling really uncomfortable. We get up there, and of course, it's just a very wide open attic. And on both sides, they had benches with little partitions in between. I remember walking up there and going about halfway down and going to the right-hand side and sitting on one little bench. And I put my hand under the bench to feel it, and I remember thinking, this isn't the right one. So I got up and moved to the next one, and I felt under the bench, and I thought, this is the right one. And all of a sudden, I could smell straw, which wasn't there. And I felt very large, like I was a large black male. And I just felt, boy, I had a lot of responsibility, and, and then I'm getting a little freaked out by it all. So I run to the other side of the room, because I thought, I just need to get out of here.
Right. Right.
So I'm running over there, and one of the docents said, what are you doing? I said, I'm just going outside the door to get some fresh air. She goes, you can't do that. And I said, I just want to open the door, go, get some fresh air. Another lady comes over, and she goes, I must have been causing more problems than I realized at the time. And she said, what are you doing? I said, I just want to go outside and get some fresh air. And she goes, that door is sealed, and we took out the stairs 75 years ago. I said, okay. So then I run all the way back.
Now you're really
and then
scared.
I'm going down the stairs we came in. And at the time, I thought, I'm sure that's my imagination, and, you're 10 years old.
Right.
But I was talking to my brother several years later, and I said, do you remember when we went through that house? And he goes, yeah. He goes, I remember. Wasn't that funny? Because he was only 6. He goes, wasn't that kind of odd? And it just felt funny, but kind of familiar at the same time. So that, got me on another path.
Okay. Wow.
when I was
So do you get quite emotional when, like, if you just walked into any room, like, can you sense or do you recognize and then kind of get emotional or excited,
Feel
like
somebody.
they excited or you feel something?
It depends how many people are there. If it's real crowded, you just pick up everything. But if it's just 1 or 2 people,
Okay.
yeah, much easier to pick up. You can zero in, I think, a little bit more
Okay.
on something.
All
like
right.
that.
Can I go back to the house for 1 second?
Yeah.
Because that had my interest. Did you ever find out if that was a real door and steps? How did you find out that?
Well, when we left, you could, you went around and you could see the door up here
Okay.
that
Ah,
actually
okay.
had the steps where the slaves would, go down
Oh,
okay.
to work in the field.
Okay.
But that
Oh,
was
that's
all,
interesting.
Yeah, was all
Yeah,
removed
yeah.
at the time.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
Interesting.
so.
So you were in communications before you retired.
Right.
And
perfect.
yep. And so how many years now have you been working as a paranormal, right? 'Cause-
Let's
Yeah.
see. Actually, I was being a paranormal investigator since 2000. I think it was 6.
Okay.
Was my first case down in Lincoln Park, and but prior to that, I had taken classes in psychic development down in Detroit with some friends, and so I've been dabbling in that and reading and being in. Finding any little conference and every little thing you could find to
Okay.
to figure
Conventions.
it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Great convention up in Sault Ste. Marie.
Yeah.
Wow.
That they have every year.
Okay.
So that's always good.
All right.
It's fun.
So
Yeah. Marie went, but she didn't attend much.
no.
It was at a casino.
Oh,
Do I have to say anything else?
Yeah, casino.
But they
That's
did
it.
have a lot of speakers.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very good
But it was
speakers.
at a casino.
Yeah.
I have to say that.
Yeah, so some people were more interested in what was going on at the convention versus others.
Yes.
At the casino.
But we
Yeah.
still learned.
Yeah. you learned how to get rid of your money quickly, right?
That's right.
Or maybe you
Made my
won.
deposit.
Or maybe, yes.
Yes.
So, well, very nice.
This is just also interesting.
It does. There's like so much more that I want to know. And, my father passed away 2 years ago in May. And so both of my daughters got married right after that.
Oh.
And always wanted to know, like, if my dad was there to see both of my daughters get married. So somebody told me, if you want them to be present, you need to verbally say out loud, Dad, be present. Don't say it to yourself or think it, that you've actually got to say it. Mm-hmm. So I did that in the hopes that he was there, but I don't know.
Was that the right information then?
Yeah, you know what? He was there.
Okay.
They're always there for the big events.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
For the important things.
Okay.
They're always there. They, we think of it as they're not there, but it's just energy, and they don't have a physical body anymore.
Right.
But their soul, their spirit energy, their soul energy, whatever we want to call it, lives on.
Yeah.
So it's just a physical body that we don't see.
We don't see it.
Yeah.
Right.
But the most important part, their soul is still
Right.
there.
So is there amount of time in our physical life, years or decades, that we can still contact them? Or is that like forever? Like 20 years from now, if Dawn says, Dad, are you around? Can she do that? Or it can be any time?
Yeah, there's something that it's a parallel universe, and quite often, not to get into a whole lot, but let's say, for instance, 20 years have gone by, and maybe your dad has come back to Earth as a reincarnate.
Okay.
Perhaps. But if you still wanted to be in touch with him, like, you can split the soul, and he can still come to you as a father, even though he may be a young child then, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Wow.
Type of a
I
thing.
wonder how the person that came back feels when that's happening to them.
I'm sorry, like, what do you mean?
I mean, like now, if it was happening to me,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
I was
like if you were...
Yeah, I wonder
okay.
how, as a physical person, that's really... Well, they do that have that one class one time and hear about that.
Right. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, there's a lot going on that we don't always know or understand.
Right. Okay.
But it's good, especially at this time of year.
I know it. Halloween. Yes.
Yes.
So, all right.
Oh, it's really good.
Okay. Well, we're going to need to take another break, and more to come. Welcome back to Senior Break.
Welcome back.
So, Jennifer, I have a question. What's the difference between a ghost and a spirit? And then, does a ghost and a spirit, or one or the other, if they are present, where are they usually present? Someplace where they really love and have enjoyed throughout their life on Earth, or is it maybe sometimes not good? I don't.
Yeah. First of all, the difference between the two is a ghost is someone who has died but remains earthbound for whatever reason. Sometimes it's something as simple as they've died very suddenly and they just don't realize that they're dead. Sometimes they have unfinished business. Let's say perhaps they were murdered. They want to help with the investigation. There's a
Oh.
lot of different reasons. You know, just like with a lot of different people, we all have different reasons that we do things.
Right.
And now a spirit is someone who has died but has passed over to the other side, but has the ability to come back. So they can come back and forth.
Okay.
And that. I have found that generally people, or usually it's ghosts, the places that they liked. I used to work at a school building. It was an old school building built in the 1800s. And at night, other people would tell me they hear children running up and down the hallway and laughing
Ooh.
and doing things like that. So I think it's a place that they enjoyed, they felt comfortable. Sometimes people like to stay in their own homes because
Okay.
that was,
Special to them, had
mhm.
some good meaning or good feeling, that warm and fuzzy feeling.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
How would you know, how would I know in my house if I had one, a ghost?
Well,
How could I tell? Is it, because like you said, yeah, I would hear something? Would it always be I'd hear something?
sometimes people hear things, but you know, every house has noises. But it would be sometimes a different noise or something you're unfamiliar with.
Right.
It could be that you might see something out of the corner of your eye. People do that quite often. Or you might see something go by real quickly, like a flash. That's fairly common too.
Like Dawn did this morning?
Well, no,
Parking lot.
yes. No, but like I'll be
Scared
standing in my kitchen at the counter, and my understanding is our sub was built on an old, was a farm.
Okay.
And every once in a while, when I stand and I go to turn to go into the dishwasher, out of the corner of my eye, I swear I see something just like a flash of something just going down the hallway. And I'll say to my husband, and he's like, "Oh, oh." But I mean, and then that's it though. And it doesn't happen very often. It's every once in a great while.
Yeah.
But that
yeah.
could be, is this right? That could be somebody that was from the farm long ago, or it also could be someone from Dawn's world that recently died, right? So
Okay.
would she have to ask it? Who are you?
You could certainly ask it. And the easiest way for them to actually communicate with us is through a dream state. So if you wanted to ask something, let's say, before you go to bed, and it may take 2 or 3 nights, but you know, ask the question, I think I saw you in the hallway. Can you tell me who you are, or how do I contact you, or is there any information that you have that you know you're trying to let me know?
Right.
But it is because they're vibrating in a very high vibration, and we're kind of down here. But when we're in our dream state, it's a little bit easier for them to
Okay.
get in touch with us.
All right. Well, thanks.
Yeah, I might try
good.
that.
So I think we wanted to go back to when you go into these businesses or these homes and you do your investigations. We
yes,
wanted to
yes.
circle back around and talk a little bit more about that.
So when you do an investigation at someone's house and you put certain equipment, is it like a tape recorder? Then do you go back and listen to that, and do you hear sounds
Yes.
from the tape recorder or film, whatever you?
Right. Yeah, that's part of, you know, you do the investigation. Then there's lots of time, later that you have to, sorry about that.
It's okay.
You have to go back and record. We call those EVPs. And I like to tell people it's similar, like, let's say in your house, your refrigerator is going, but
Right.
you've heard that refrigerator for years and years, and so you really don't hear the refrigerator
Right.
or different noises in your house. So when you actually put it on a recorder, that seems to emphasize it, and you can pick it out right away because, oh yeah, my refrigerator is going, oh, the furnace just turned on. But you don't hear it in kind of an everyday.
Right, because those are the norms for you. Right.
And so normally when we had one in Romeo, and it was kind of a fun one. We were in the back of, this building was built in the 1900s. In the back was, we had some equipment up on the counter, and I could sense this entity was close by, and I said, I know you're here, I can feel you. Can you use some of the equipment to, perhaps get some more energy so you can so I can actually see you. And the recorder says, I'm right here. So, you know, he was an intelligent being.
I would have probably smashed it.
Right.
Remember that?
Oh.
It scared me.
Well, I didn't hear it at the time, but it was on the recorder. And, you know, he says, I'm right here. And,
Wow.
yeah, and then I think a little bit later in that investigation, one of our other teammates sometimes would ask questions of me, and then I could pick it up from the spirit. And they said, were you a customer here? Or no, did you work here, or were you a customer here? And the entity said, customer, I'll pay cash. You know?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you never know quite what you're going to get.
Right.
Was there one time, I can't remember the story, about someone was singing?
Oh, that was up in Metamora.
That's where I ran.
Yeah. Oh, and I think actually Maria heard that one.
That's why I ran.
It was at the end of the night, and we hadn't gotten a whole lot of anything. And it was a 2-story building there. And I remember saying, I think I'm just going to go upstairs. The bathroom is upstairs. We're just going to start, you know, tearing everything down. So I said, I'm just going upstairs, bathroom, I'll be right back down. As I'm going up the stairs, this lady starts singing. I can't remember the name of the song.
We
Do you
listened
remember?
to, no, I don't remember that one.
In this beautiful voice, and it was so clear. And then I thought, did somebody actually sing in our group? And there's only one other lady that has a real outstanding voice that I thought it could be. So I remember asking her. She goes, no, I wouldn't be singing.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that was kind of fun to get that on
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
tape
that
too.
was good.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if there are spirits in a restaurant or a hotel or somewhere, and it burns,
Mm-hmm.
are they still there? If it's rebuilt, or like a house, we'll take a house. Say a house burns down,
Right.
and
Well-
there were spirits there.
Yeah, quite often it depends upon, while most of them would be attached to the property or the ground.
Okay.
So that would be the reason that they would stay
yeah.
there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
We
right.
had one up in Brandon. It was an old school, and we actually found a couple people there, and they were going to actually tear the building down and I think resell it or repurpose it,
right.
whatever. And I remember we went just before everything was ready to be torn down, and we just said, you know, we know you're here. This is going to be torn down. There's not going to be, your place is not going to be here anymore. Would you like to go and maybe try and get to the other side? Because if not, it's going to be torn down.
Right.
People are going to build on top of it, and they will have no idea who these people are
Right.
on
Wow.
top of it. So,
Wow. Well, Jennifer, I really enjoyed talking with you today.
thank you.
Loved having you here on Senior Break. We'll have to have you come back another time and share some other stories. And it's so very interesting.
Yeah.
So,
Really,
good.
there's so
Well,
many
thank you.
questions.
yes. So if somebody wants to get in contact with you, how do they do that?
I believe that you have our contact information
Okay.
and our website.
Okay. All right. So visit the Paranormal Michigan SPI.com
Mm-hmm.
and get in contact with them through that website, and they can potentially meet up with you if you need some assistance or have
Is
some
there a
curiosity.
No.
I was
charge.
asking if there was a charge
A charge?
No,
for-
there's no charge.
for them to
Okay.
go in.
No.
Okay.
All right.
Nice
Wow.
organization.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for taking the
Thank
time
you.
to come out today and after your retirement and being a part of this group. It's not everybody potentially has this talent or knowledge or gift. So thank you for sharing it with us today.
Well, thank
Yeah,
you
thanks,
for
Jenny.
having us.
All right.
It's fun.
All right. Well, everybody have a good Halloween, and we will see you next time.